Today we're going to be looking at how we can use Power Automate, in this instance the cloud functionalities in Power Automate, to automate the handling of invoices being received in a mailbox. So we will set up a process and have it run from A to Z, where we build an AI model, or we train an AI model in the AI hub in Power Automate in the cloud. And then based off of that, we will connect it to our mail, and then we will simulate that we receive new invoices to that mail, and then the AI model and the flow that we will be building in Power Automate Cloud will take information from those invoices and store it into an Excel file. So the way for us to do that is to set up a few things first. So we need to set up an Excel sheet that can capture these informations. We need to set up and build and train the AI model that will scrape the information off from the invoices. We have to create the invoices. I've done that already. And in the description below, you can download those invoices so you have something to use also. If you want to follow along, then you can do so. And then we have to have it. We have to have a user set up with premium capabilities, or as I have done here in my case, we have started the trial period, so we have access to the AI functionalities in Power Automate Cloud. So first things first, let's have a look at the invoices that we've built. I just used a simple invoice creator online to kind of get the basics down. So we have a name, we have an invoice number, a date, we have a address, we have some comments, PO number, description of what it is that we've sold, and then some numbers for the amount of total due and subtotal and sales tax and so on. So the invoices look like this. They all look similar. Added some different rows and making up some different numbers, but in general they're similar. And we want to then upload these files and train the AI model. So the way for us to do that is that we go to, if we just start from the beginning, we will go to make.powerautomate.com. So we go into the AI hub function, or section. It used to be called AI Builder, but the new layout requires us to go into the AI Hub because there's now multiple things within the AI Hub. And then we'll click the AI models. And in here, there's a pre-built model, which is the invoice processing, where we can extract information from invoices, which is what we want to do. And in this case, we could get away with using the pre-built model. But just to take you behind the scenes a little bit, we will create a custom model, so you can see how Power Automate uses the model and trains it. So here it's saying that these are all the default tags that we're trying to find, or that the model is trying to find. We will add one, which will be a number field. So we click that and click next, and we will say shipping, and this will make sense in a second. We will just use a dot as a decimal separator, and then that should be added also. So we will add that. The rest should be fine, and then we will click next. And here we now then have to use, or we have to upload some of the examples of the invoices that we have. So we have to create a new collection, which we will do. And each new collection requires us to upload at least 5 examples for it to have something to look through and kind of base its logic and everything on. So we will upload the first 5 PDF invoices. We will do that here, and we will click done once it's uploaded, and then we can start tagging the document. So now it's trying to find some of the default tags that it's already including in the model, which is good. So it's finding the invoice ID up in the top right corner. It is finding the purchase order number over here, the PO number, which is also good. And then it's not finding the shipping, but as you can see down here, we are finding the subtotal, we're finding the total tax, we're finding the invoice total, but we're not finding the shipping and handling, which we want to do. So we will click, and just mark this, and then we will add it to the shipping. Maybe we should call it shipping total, but whatever. So now we're also capturing this information, and then the rest we accept. It looks good. So we will go to the next document, and we will then have to do the same. It's finding everything as per the first document also, but it's again not finding the shipping. So we will highlight this and add it to the shipping, and we will do so again for the next couple of documents here, so that it's all aligned. We highlight it, add it to shipping, and we highlight it, and we add it to shipping. So now we can click next, and now we're reviewing that it looks like it's found customer address on 5 of the uploaded files, customer address recipient on 5 of the uploaded files, invoice ID, purchase order, and so on and so forth. And it looks like it's found them on all the uploaded files, which is good. Ideally, that's also what we wanted to see, because they should be identical. That's also how I created it. And you could imagine that in real life scenarios also, invoices are a standard format. So some of the information will be the same. Obviously, there might be different line items because you might have sold something differently to one customer comparing to another customer, but the overall layout will be identical and structured. And if it's structured, it's something we can automate. So we go through it. It looks good. So now we will set it to train. So now this will run for a second. And in the meantime, we can prepare some of the other information that we needed to prepare. So in the beginning, I said that we needed to create an Excel file for us to load some of this information in. So we will just go into our OneDrive and open a blank workbook. And then in here, we need to add some details. So in the workbook, we want to add a few headers. So we want to make a table that we can use in the flow that we will build in just a second. That inputs some of the details that we're scraping off of the invoices. So we want to capture the customer address. These are some of the fields that we extract from the invoices. We want to extract the invoice ID. We want to extract the purchase order number, the remittance address recipient. We want to extract the invoice total, the subtotal, the total tax, and the shipping, we called it. And then maybe the invoice date. So we can add, obviously, depending on what you extract and depending on what it is that you exactly need, you can add or delete some of these. But in our example, we will try to see if we can fill out these information or these headers with some information from the invoices. So we will format this as a table. This is very important. So we will just choose any, and we will say that it has headers. So these are the headers. And then just for good measure, we can go into the table design and just give the table itself a name. And this will also make sense in just a second. Why this helps a bit. So now we have a prepared empty but a prepared Excel workbook that we can use in the flow. So if we go back into our Power Automate, we go into the My Flows section, and we will create a new flow, and we will create an automated cloud flow, which we will call invoice handling example. And we will have a trigger on this, which is that when a new email arrives, version 3, so we will use that and click create. So this means that, and thank you Copilot, but I don't need you for this. So we will set it up so that, and now it's already connecting to my mail that is connected to this Power Automate user. So that's good, that's what we need. And then we just need to fill out a couple of example or a couple of details here. So we don't necessarily know who it's coming from in this example, but we know that the subject of the mail that we will receive with the invoice will include invoice. So we will add this, that the subject has to have invoice in it. It has to include attachments, and it can only be with attachments. And then the folder that we will receive them in is just the inbox for this example. You could obviously also build some logic to say every time you receive something from invoice processing, whatever, you take that, make an Outlook rule, where you take that and you push it into a subfolder, and then this flow obviously has to then point to that subfolder. But in this case, for simplicity, we will just specify that it lands in the inbox folder. So what we set up here now is that the inbox of this ad or this mail will receive a mail where in the subject title there will be invoice, and the mail that we're receiving where it says invoice does also includes an attachment. So that's the first step. Next, we need to add a apply for each functionality. And then here we have to reference the attachments from the previous step. So we have to do something with the attachments. And what we want to do is that we want to add another action inside of the apply for each, or apply to each function or action. And we want to extract or we want to use the action called extract information from documents. And it's under the AI builder. Again, this is a premium functionality. So that is a prerequisite for you to be able to do this. Here we then have to specify which model that we want to use, and it's actually not this, because this is from the other day. So we just quickly have to go back, because we haven't published the model yet. It's just been running and training itself. So if we go back into the AI hub, we will say that it's now trained, but it's not published. So this is the one that we can see, but we want to be able to use this. So we click on it, and then we publish it. And this will just take a second. There we go, the model is now published. So we can go back, we can just close this, and we will have to delete this, save it, and then just refresh it. And then we might have to do this again. So let's just, this has to include attachments, it has to say invoice, it can only be with attachments, and it has to be arrive in the inbox. So first step there. Next step, we will just add it again, apply to each, and it has to be applied to each attachment, just like we did before. And then within here we have to add extract information from documents within the AI builder. We do that, and let's see if we can find it now. It shows up here, so we'll click that, and we will do PDF documents, because this is the type of file that we upload, and the form has to be a content attachment content, like so. And from here we can then add a new action, which is to add a row into a table. So in Excel Online Business, we add a row into a table, and we have to specify where this is. So this is our OneDrive for Business. It is in OneDrive, and this might obviously differ from you. and then it is in book 2 because we haven't actually saved it as anything else, but it's book 2. And then here in the table, we are choosing the invoice handling. And that is why we gave it a name, because if you start to have a lot of tables or you have a lot of books open or files open, it's always just good to keep a good naming convention, so it also makes sense when you revisit it if you have to do so. This helps also understand what's going on. But that's it. So we want to add a row into the table, and what we then need to do now is to specify what it is that we need to add to these different headers. So the first one being custom address. What we want to add here is the dynamic content, and it's the custom address value, and this will be the same all the way down. Invoice ID value, purchase order value, remittance address recipient value. And this is also a good example of why it's relevant to keep the same naming convention across, because otherwise you can get confused rather quickly. Shipping value and invoice date value. So there we go. This is all we want to. So in each loop that it does, it adds the value of the total tax into the total tax header, so on and so forth. That's what we've now built. So we can go ahead now and save this flow. Close this down, and then your flow is ready to go. We recommend that you test it, which we will obviously do. So we can click test and do a manual test. And if you remember, so the way we set it up now is that it will get triggered if we do the starting action, and the starting action is that we send a mail, or that this mail address, matthiaskjeldsen@expandingatlas on Microsoft.com, receives a mail wherein the subject invoice test, in the subject title it says something with invoice. This is the first test. Please perform actions. Best regards, Matthias Kjeldsen. And then we just have to add a invoice example, and we'll just use a new invoice that we haven't trained the model on, but we will just add invoice number 6, and we will send it. And then we will just have to wait 1 second, because we now need to get the mail arriving in the mailbox, which happened here, and then it should start running here the automated flow. So it should pick it up in a second, and hopefully we will see it work and add details to this workbook in a second. So it's found the mail, it's extracting information, hopefully it's adding it into the table. This is always the exciting part, to see if I built anything incorrectly. It looks like we had success. So the way for us to quality check this is to open up the book, and you can see that we now have information added to these columns. So now we should be able to do this again and again and again and again. So we send another mail, we drop in another invoice, because they come left, right, and center, because the shop that we have is very good. So we keep receiving invoices. So now we've received another invoice, so it should be, if we just let this run, or let this be for a second, we should be able to refresh it, and then at some point it should say that it's run again. So now it's running now, and if we just wait 10 seconds and refresh it again, it should probably say that it has succeeded. Hopefully it succeeded. So if we open up the workbook, we now have new details from a new invoice. added into the table in our Excel file. Voila, that's it. I hope this has been helpful. At least it's been a fun build. If you have similar issues or processes that you feel are structured but you don't know how to automate them, but you're getting tired of doing it manually, ping me, write a comment down below, find me on Instagram, find me on LinkedIn, reach out to me. I'll help you build something nice and cool. But that's it. If you had any, if this has helped you in any way, or if you learned something new, it would be highly appreciated. I know that this is very cliche, but it would be highly appreciated if you interacted with the video here in any way possible, either by subscribing or giving it a like or writing down a comment down below, just for it to have some interaction, because that way it gets spread out across the wide internet, hopefully to someone else who can also use this content. I find it funny to create. I find it interesting and relaxing to build these builds. But with that's enough. That's enough yapping from my side. I hope you have a good day. See you on the next one. Thanks.